What a wonderful warm reception on this Wiltshire afternoon. Now, I've got a very important message to show you. Would you like a quick flash? We have reached 200,000 members! How about that? Now, the live ticker, which has gone down now, and I'll tell you why in a moment. I've become obsessed with the live ticker. You know, I wake up, this one's working still, is it? Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, we're roaring on now, aren't we? Whey! Now, the idea behind this was that as we got past 100,000, we realised that the Conservative Party had sent out 131,680 ballot papers in their last leadership election. So we thought, well, we'll put that up, and who knows, maybe we'll go past it. And on Boxing Day morning, we went past that number, only to have the leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition accuse us of fraud, saying we were making it up. Well, we weren't, because we got people to come in and check and look at the back end, and it's all absolutely legit. So I was thrilled to go past that number. By the way, I have it on good authority now that the Conservative paid-up membership is now less than 100,000. So, since we launched this, and by the way, in the modern world, to have got here this quickly, isn't it truly extraordinary? Doesn't it show you something is happening in this country? People want real political leadership. They want real change. That's what that tells you. That's what that tells you. But as soon as I come off stage, that message will change. And it will say that the Labour Party... Oh, yeah, we're coming for them. Don't you worry about that. That message will say, as I leave this stage, it'll change, and it will say that the Labour Party have 309,000 members, and when we overtake them, we will be the biggest political party in this country. That's our goal. That's our aim. That's our target. Now, if you read your Sunday newspapers, you'll see there's much talk of me doing deals with the Conservative Party. Many years ago, sir, they were a very, very successful political organisation, but sadly, they betrayed the country with open-door immigration, with increased taxes, with not delivering Brexit, and they are now going to become a party of history, sir, because we are going to replace them. So let me be clear. If you do a deal with somebody, and perhaps I'm old school, because I believe that my word is my bond, all right? But if I shake someone's hand and do a deal, I look into their eyes and I do the deal on the basis that I trust the person that I'm doing a deal with. I made, I think, a very magnanimous gesture as leader of the Brexit Party back in 2019. When I said we would stand down in 320 seats to give Boris a clear run to get in and get Brexit done. And it was the right thing to do at the time. It may not feel like it today, but it was, I think, a moment to put the interests of the country before the interests of myself or the interests of the party. And it was the right thing to do. But with a majority of 80, do you know what? They didn't even say thank you, which shows you what low-grade human beings most of them are. And they betrayed everything about Brexit. Brexit was about taking back control of our borders. Brexit was about reducing the numbers coming into our country. Brexit was about getting rid of excessive legislation that ties up so much of the time and effort and money of the 5.5 million people out there, men and women, that run small businesses. Brexit was about re-establishing confidence in who we were as a country. None of it was delivered, and I will not be doing deals with any individuals or any party that I view to be dishonourable and undeserving of ever being in government again in any capacity. And to go into the 2010 election, the 2015 election, the 2017 election, telling us they'd reduce net migration to tens of thousands a year, to win the majority saying the numbers would reduce, and then to finish up in 1 year alone with net 1 million people coming into Britain, is as big a betrayal of a promise made to the British people as there has ever been in political history, and they must never, ever be forgiven for doing it. Now, but it would appear that the rise of reform is prompting changes in the other parties. Not just Kemi giving a speech the other day about how tough she's going to be on immigration, the very same Kemi who campaigned for foreign students to bring dependents with them. Quite why coming to university means bringing a mum, I've never, ever fully understood. But the Labour Party will be going on the attack tomorrow. They'll be showing us how successful they are at deporting people who've come here illegally. That's their big plan. What they won't tell you is over half of those that are going voluntarily, that many are getting £3,000 to go. Oh, yes. And I want to ask a question of Yvette Cooper, who'll be talking about this tomorrow, so let's do it now. How many of those young men that have crossed the English Channel in small dinghies since you got into government have been deported on those planes? I think we all know the answer, don't we? So we're not going to buy in to any of this at all. And I maintain that a 10 million increase in the population of our country over the course of the last 20 years has devalued the living standards of everybody in this country. Everybody in this country. It's truly incredible. The wave of people that came under Boris Johnson from 2021, of the millions that came, only 20% are working and contributing. The rest are costing us, the taxpayer. It's an outrage, and we're the only party that actually has the courage to stand up and say that anyone that comes here illegally will be deported. Simple as that. Simple as that. And we're the only party that will say that overall migration needs to be, this is the one net zero we approve of. No more population increase through immigration for many years to come until we get some hope of sorting out the mess that we're in. We haven't got enough houses, we can't get GP appointments, our roads are completely overloaded, our infrastructure is crumbling. No population rise through immigration with a reform government is a promise that we make to you. But to understand the kind of government we've got today, we need to look at the fiasco around the Chagos Islands. And this is just the most, and I know Richard spoke about it earlier, but it's really important. A piece of sovereign British territory, 1,300 miles away from Mauritius, that Mauritius have never, ever owned. And Mauritius, with whom we signed a treaty back in 1968, and by the way, even then, we gave them money. But for Keir Starmer and his government to pretend that a ruling of the UN's International Court of Justice, which has no legal authority over this country whatsoever, is somehow the reason to give away these islands. And it's led to David Lammy, our Foreign Secretary, or left-wing sixth former, I'm not quite sure which. But it's led to David Lammy saying, don't worry, there's no threat to Gibraltar, there's no threat to the Falkland Islands, because the people of those islands will decide their future. Well, no one's asked the displaced Chagosian community what they want, and it's pretty clear they want to go back and resettle on some of the islands. And we as a British government should allow them to do that. It would be right and proper, and it would actually deal with the injustice that was done to them back in 1968. But of course, it is the island of Diego Garcia that matters. This is the most important military base for America anywhere in the world outside of mainland America. And let's face it, folks, without America, we are defenseless. We need America. And Diego Garcia is one of the single most important things we give in this special relationship. But it turns out that Philip Sands, KC, one of Keir Starmer's closest friends, has been working for the Mauritian government for years, that he even went to the Chagos Islands. This is a British citizen. He went to the Chagos Islands. He boasted about beating, as he saw it, the British government in the International Court of Justice, and he put a Mauritian flag on sovereign British territory. Now, in years gone by, he'd have gone to the Tower of London. But actually, what he's doing, and what Lord Hermer, the Attorney General, who says that everything about the British Empire is racist, these people hate our country. They hate our history. They are giving away a vital strategic asset, one that actually, because it's there, stops the spread of communist China in many of those parts of the world. They're endangering world peace. Starmer's friends have made money out of this. It's against our national interest. And frankly, I think what the British government are doing over Chagos is not far short of an act of treachery. And I mean that. Oh, and then there's the money. So it's generally agreed that £9 billion we will pay for somebody to have something that is ours already. All right? And the Chagosian Prime Minister, the Mauritian Prime Minister, boasted last week in his parliament that the money, the payments, would now be inflation-linked. All right. So let's assume that the payment is £90 million a year. The Times this week thought £90 million a year would be the fee. And inflation-linked, some speculated, you might have read this, it would mean 18 billion. Did you read that? Yeah. Okay. It's wrong. If inflation runs at 3% for the next 99 years, and £90 million a year is linked to inflation, the total cost we will pay the Mauritian government for this is £52 billion. £52 billion, which is more than the entire defence budget this year. It is literally, we'll be paying within a few years more than the cost of the winter fuel payment every single year to do something that is against our interests and will damage our relationship with America. And let me say this. If Reform form the next government, anybody here believe that Reform could? Thank you. They're still awake. That's good. If Reform form the next government, we will abrogate the treaty in the same way that Mauritius have done with our 1968 treaty. We will cease all payments, and if we have to, we'll put visa restrictions on Mauritians and end tourist flights to their islands. We will not put up with this, and nor should we. Let's defend the national interest. Let's put Britain first. I'm also very keen that a Reform government, that we re-industrialise Britain. Let's get people back into proper, well-paid working jobs. The madness. I mean, even some of the people you met outside earlier. No, well, some people like green hair. I don't know, but there we are. But even the greenies that you met earlier, everyone knows we'll be using gas and oil up until at least 2050. So rather than importing it, why not produce our own oil and gas and have many, many well-paid jobs? We have closed down. We have closed down most of our chemical plants, most of our manufacturing, all of our aluminium smelting, nearly all of our primary steel production, and we import the goods from India and China in the name of saving the planet, when we produce less than 1% of global CO2, and what we're doing is making no difference at all. It is as if a collective madness has come upon the entire political class. A political class who in most cases have never had a job in their lives, are out of touch. And to think that a British manufacturer now has power costs that are 6 times that of his American counterpart shows you the sheer crass idiocy, moronitude, stupidity. I think moronitude's a new word, by the way, but anyway. You never know. I did get debanking into the Oxford English Dictionary, so you never know. So we're building some very positive plans, and I tell you what, I think that what is happening in America is going to be a great help to us in Reform and our movement. I was just about the only public figure in Britain that stood up and defended McDonald back in 2015 and 2016. And I've never, ever wavered in thinking that even if his brash New Yorker style is not your cup of tea, that actually this man was a good thing, not just for America, but actually for peace in the world. And I can't tell you how honoured I was to be in that room in Mar-a-Lago that night of the 5th of November when he won. I'm proud to call him a friend, and I think the start he's made with good common sense. I mean, who thinks that 6'3" men should compete in swimming events against women? I don't, he doesn't, and nor do you. So amazing the start they've made. And yes, cutting the size of the administrative state. They've been having a go at the US foreign aid budget. But think about our foreign aid budget. We've been giving money to India, Argentina, China, all sorts of countries, all sorts of crazy causes. We must cut the size of the public sector. We must cut the size of the administrative state. And we must understand that actually, if we're going to get ourselves out of trouble, we'll only do it through hard work, making money, getting tax revenue, without which we can't afford to have pensions. We can't afford to have health. And I want to say this to you, and I really mean this. I feel, and one of the reasons I came back out of sort of semi-retirement last year to throw myself back into the front line, and I did it because I thought to myself so hard, what are the things that really, really matter? And it seemed to me that family, community, and country were the things that I cared about, were the things that the silent majority of Brits care about. And these were the things that inspired me to go back into the front line of politics. But you know something? All of those things are seriously threatened. Our country is in very much deeper trouble than many care to admit. We are getting poorer individually. Our national debt is exploding. Societally, you only have to look at the grooming gangs. Abomination, what other word can I use, to realize the trouble that we're in. Conventional policing has disappeared. Crime is accepted. Shoplifting is accepted. This country, unless we do something, will be completely unrecognizable as all of us know it and love it within a decade. We might just be the last throw of the dice. This might well be just one of those moments when it takes something radical to get a grip, to turn this around, to change attitudes. And that's really why I'm back doing this and devoting my life to it. And I'm so honored and thrilled to have great colleagues with me, some of whom you've seen on the platform this afternoon, to have a couple of 100,000 people now paying their membership money, hundreds of thousands of others who've logged online as supporters. But I'm in Wiltshire today for one very specific reason. We have on May the 1st, now you've got elections in Wiltshire, you've not been cancelled. Although 5.5 million people have had their vote taken away, which I think is a complete and absolute total disgrace in what should be a democracy. I really do. But you've got to vote. You've got to vote. And we need to be stronger in Wiltshire. We've got lots of you signed up. By the way, we filled this place out within a couple of days on one email. Didn't even need to advertise, and we could have filled it 2 or 3 times over. So well done you for getting in quickly. But for the People's Army to be a success, for us to succeed on May the 1st on the ground, and this is our first big test, isn't it, since the general election, we've got to show that those opinion polls are real. And by the way, aren't those opinion polls incredible? I mean, absolutely incredible. In the hall outside, as you leave, you will see tables for each of the constituencies in Wiltshire. You'll see a table at the back of the hall which says sign up here. And what I need you to do, if you want to help us and do your bit in whatever way you can in our historic mission, and a mission that I just feel we can't afford to fail at. There's so much at stake. Otherwise, what do we leave to those that come behind us other than a completely broken and betrayed country? I'm not going to put up with that, and I want you to help me in making sure we prevent that. Are you going to help me in preventing that? Yeah. Good. So I need you, please, go to whatever table is from your area. Let your local branch know who you are. Do what you can. Deliver leaflets. Speak to friends and family. Go round the pubs, as I've been doing now for decades. Although, to be honest, I haven't got quite as much time as I used to have, but never mind. But what I also need, I need more of you to stand up and put yourself forward to be considered to be a candidate in the Wiltshire county elections on May the 1st. You, sir, you're nodding. Are you prepared to stand up and be a candidate? You're standing already. Well done you. Well done you. But I need people. So come on. Are there some of you in this audience who would consider putting your names forward to stand in these elections? Yeah, who said yes? Stand up. Anybody else prepared to put themselves forward to be candidates in these elections? More people standing up over there, and over there, and over there, and over there, and over there. Whoa! This is incredible. This is incredible. This, for those of you watching this, and keep standing, please, for a moment. For those of you watching this on a live stream, and we get huge numbers that watch this live, and they're interested parties, they're press, they're all sorts. For those of you watching this on live stream, if you haven't joined already, get online and join now. And have a look at what these people are doing. Something extraordinary, something remarkable, something historic is happening in British politics. The good ordinary folk of Wiltshire, today, right before my eyes, are standing up and saying they're going to fight for our country. We need to put Britain first, and we intend to make Britain great again. Thank you very much indeed.
So that was Nigel Farage live in Wiltshire. He's calling on people to join his party.